Hey y'all. So I just wanted to make a little video because I felt like my point would be made more clearly if it was a video versus me writing it and leaving it open for interpretation. Well, I guess technically it's still open for interpretation, but I just thought this would be a bit more intimate. So I want to talk about emotions. I want to talk about emotional intelligence and just balancing it all. I had a friend tell me, I've had a couple of friends tell me, like, oh, you're so calm, like, you're so chill, like, how do you do that? And these are all statements that are usually made whenever I'm faced with adversity. And the answer is simple. I think it's more important for me to protect my energy and to reserve my energy than it is for me to expel it on something that won't matter, So a couple of simple things I do, like if I find myself in a frustrating situation, just because I'm not visibly upset or I'm not huffing and puffing doesn't mean that it's not frustrating. It's still frustrating for me. I just have come to realize that there's so much more that I could be doing with my time and energy, and whether people realize it or not, being angry is hard. It's hard to be angry. Like, it's hard to stay mad. You can be angry about something, or you can just even dislike something. But in order to be angry about it and be visibly angry and let people know that you're angry, you have to expel a certain amount of energy. And this is said with the most humility possible. I just don't care enough about other people to expel that energy for them or to waste that energy on them. Because I just think, at the end of the day, it's my responsibility to make sure that I'm good here. I've got to protect my peace of mind, just peace when it comes to everything in general. You need to make it a priority to stay in a peaceful mind state. Stress is nothing to play with. And as someone who used to be a self-inflicting, I don't even know how to say this, stress person. I used to cause stress, and I used to create situations for myself. And I'm not saying that I don't ever do that anymore. Of course, in everything we do, there's always going to be some sort of a relapse or just a moment where you have to remind yourself, like, what your goal is, what you're trying to do. But especially when it comes to, like, being passive aggressive, I don't know if I would quite describe myself as passive aggressive, but I was somewhere in that ball game where, like, I would be really upset about something. And instead of just going to the person that I was upset with and saying, hey, this bothered me, let's talk about this, I would just stay upset. And I don't know. I think it had somewhat to do with, me just wanting people to look at me in a certain way. And I think the other part of it may have just had to do with the fact that I don't like confrontation, so I would rather just be mad at the person. I would just be mad at you for however long I decided to be mad at you and never tell you that I was upset. But at that point, you have to make a decision. So what I do now is I decide, okay, how upset am I about this situation? And I'm speaking specifically about disagreements that you might have with friends, family, colleagues, whatever. How upset am I really? Is it something that's worth a conversation, or can I let it go? And if I let it go, that's not, okay, I'm not going to say nothing, but the next time I get mad at you, let me bring it up in an argument. That means actually letting it go. And if I am upset enough that I can't let it go, then we need to talk about it. I need to let you know how I feel. And if it is that serious, then I need to create distance. And there's nothing wrong with that. There was a time when I felt like I almost owed it to people to be kind to them because they're my friends, or because I've known them since the second grade, or because they're my auntie, or whoever, like, I have to do this because of that. And that's just not true. It's simply untrue. It's quite far from the truth. Back to what I was originally saying, your goal is to protect your energy, to protect your peace. And however you need to do that, you need to do it. And you don't have to apologize to anybody for making that decision. So, just that's step one. Like, I have gotten to a place where I can I I will be in the midst of a situation and I can see something happening that I don't like. But does it physically upset me? Does it physically make me angry? Do I feel though like that rush that I normally feel when I'm hot, like, when I'm really upset about something? No. Like I don't. And it takes a lot for me to get there. But even though it takes a lot for me to get there, it's still a choice of mine. I can always choose not to react that way. And a lot of times I think what I've just realized about people is if we're talking about disagreements, you have to ask yourself as well, like, was this a misunderstanding? Do you guys just have two different points on this? Or is this who this person is at their core? And if it bothers you so much that you're about to be so upset, create distance. And I know some of you guys are thinking like, well, what about family members? Okay, you don't want to just ice out your family members. I get that. I'm the same way. I value family a great deal. So when it comes to family members that upset me in any way, shape, or form, I just try my best to create the distance, but also still show them love. People say love them from a distance. And that's what you have to do, because if I don't, what's the alternative? The alternative is me causing myself stress. Or if you have a family member, a friend, a colleague, a coworker, whoever, and immediately when you're around them, it causes you stress, stop being around them. Or if you know that you're going to have to be around them, do whatever you gotta do to prepare yourself. Everybody has things they like to do to calm them down, to make them feel good. Like, for me, it's a drink. Like, I have a margarita. And I know that's a little cliche. Like, people always say, like, you need to have a drink. I like margaritas. I love them. That's probably my favorite, like, my drink of choice. So if I know that I'm going to be around somebody that's going to get on my nerves, I'm drinking a margarita. Now, that doesn't mean go and drink 5 margaritas, but I'm just saying, like, 1 margarita takes the edge off, maybe 2. And, other times for me, it could be stretching, could be yoga. Other times for me, it could be reading. And although some people might find this to be rude, I love Twitter. So if I'm around somebody that's irritating me, and I know for sure it's not worth the conversation of being like, why do you do that? You get on my nerves. It ain't worth the conversation. It's too much energy to even have that conversation. I get on Twitter. Twitter does it for me every time. Every single time. So whatever it is, that's going to give you like a little dose of happiness, a little dose of peace. Take your mind off of it. Consider doing that. But as for me, I do not like being angry. I'm not a yeller or a fusser. And I know that a lot of people aren't used to that. So sometimes people respond to it very differently. But I'm not going to change or shift, what I have going on to accommodate somebody else. It's something that I used to do, and it always led me down the wrong path, or I was always disappointed in myself in the end. And I need to be able to be proud of myself. I need to be able to feel confident in myself. And I've always liked the idea that people look up to me, and it's like, if I want people to continue to looking up to me, I've got to give them something to look up to, and so I just think that's the most important thing. Before I can do anything, I need to protect my peace, protect my energy. And, just a little bit about what led me into this. Funny enough, I was talking to one of my friends, and it had been way too long since we talked, and we were just talking about everything, catching up, all that kind of stuff. And she was like, have you read the 4 Agreements? And I was like, yes. And I was like, girl, who hasn't? But I know that was a lot of people haven't. But I just think the 4 Agreements, most people that have read the 4 Agreements, you'll hear them say, oh, I read the 4 Agreements and it changed my life. I can agree with that. What I will say is that it wasn't instant. These bugs just won't let me be great. It was not instant, So I think I was about 23 when I read the 4 Agreements. One of the couples that I used to be a nanny for, now people that I, call friends, one day, one of my friends, she was like, have you read the 4 Agreements? I think you would like that book. And I was like, I haven't, let me look into this. So I started reading the 4 agreements, and it just made so much sense. Like, it made so much sense. And it's like, you have this concept that, like, you're obligated to do these things, or that life is supposed to be this way and that's just how it is. It doesn't, and it's not supposed to be that way. Like, if you are struggling with something, or you're dealing with something, just simply changing your perspective can be life-changing. And that's what I think the 4 agreements does for most people. So there are 4 agreements. You have: do your best, be impeccable with your words, don't make assumptions, and don't take things personally. Everybody's favorite is don't take things personally, because as a race, it is in our nature to take something and make it about ourselves. And that's essentially what taking things personally is that you've taken this situation or this occurrence and you've made it about you. And, the whole idea of the 4 agreements is that these 4 things will help you live a happier, healthier life. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. Well, what's going on over there? Well, hello then. I'm sorry. I got the dogs going crazy. So, that you can live a happier, healthier life. And there's this ongoing theme that, like, the world is your stage and you are the star. And so if you think about just each individual person, they're living their lives. Everything around them is happening to them. So, of course, when it comes to having a disagreement with somebody, or having opposing views, you might have opposing views because of your different experiences. You might also have opposing views just because of the perspective. I know I keep saying perspective, but that's really what it's about. Is if you and I are looking at the same object, but you're sitting over there and I'm sitting over here, we're looking at it from 2 different sides. And it's the same thing when it comes to the things that we debate about on a daily basis. It's just like, we're different people, we have different perspectives, and everything is happening to us. So if you've ever upset a friend and you just thought, like, wow, I didn't think she was going to react that way, or I didn't think he was going to react that way, it's because, how could you? You're not living life from their perspective. You're not in their shoes. And especially in relationships, and I don't just mean romantic relationships, I mean relationships, period. In relationships, that happens so often, where we're having a conversation and we have opposing views, and nobody is right, but nobody is wrong. Because it's just the simple fact that we have opposing views. And there is nothing wrong with that. So, one, beginning to understand that people are not going to see things the way that I see them. They're not going to see things the way that I see them. They're not going to think of everything the way that I do. They're not going to agree with everything that I do, period. Some people might watch this video and be like, oh, nah, because if somebody disrespect me, I'm going to do this, that, or the other, whatever, and that's fine. Everybody has their opposing views, but who am I to make a judgment about the way that you view something? Or who are you to make a judgment about the way that I view something? Respecting that we're different, respecting that we, have our reasons, if you will, for the way that we are, the way that we behave, the way that we think. That's step 1 to me, because you're going to find yourself in trouble if you just assume that everybody in the world is supposed to agree with you. They're not going to, and it's silly of you to expect them to. It's kind of like the saying, a wise man knows that he knows nothing. Like, you know nothing. You know what you know. But in comparison to everybody else, in comparison to the grand scheme of things, you know nothing. And we're still learning. And we, as humans, we feel so accomplished. We're like, we did this, we did that. I know this, I'm smart, I'm wise. And yes, you are all of those things. But at the end of the day, you know nothing, which is an extreme way of saying that there's still so much more for you to learn. You don't just say, oh, I'm 21 now, so I'm grown. I know things. You don't just say, oh, I'm 50 now, I have kids and grandkids. Like, no, you don't know. You don't actually know anything. Because when you think you know something, and then a year or two later, you might learn something that might change that perspective. That's just the way things are, So that, just respecting people's point of views and people's stances on things and not wanting to change them. You know, like there are a million people in this world. You have options. If you want more friends, go find more friends. If you have a partner and you just feel like you feel the need to change your partner, either you need to check yourself or you need to find a different partner who fits whatever you're looking for, you know, or somewhere in the middle. But it's just like the idea that you meet a person and that you're so powerful that you're about to change them. That's not a thing. Like, you know, you can influence. Influence is a thing. Influence is powerful. But changing a person at their core, you know, and I know that's an argument for another time. But that's not your job. You know, it's not your job to change a person. So just understanding that people are who they are and learning to embrace them for being themselves, you know, or from just being different from you. That has helped me as well with my perspective on things. Like there have been plenty of times where somebody would have said something to me and normally I would have taken offense to it. And I would have been like, excuse me? You know, and this doesn't mean that you don't correct people, because I correct people all the time. But what it does mean is that you acknowledge that there's beauty in being different. There's beauty in, you know, there's beauty in everything. But there's something beautiful about having a conversation and listening to how someone else feels about it. And either thinking, wow, I didn't think of it that way. Or, you crazy. Like, no, definitely not. You know, there's beauty in that. So that is like the beginning, you know. And the next step is just understanding that you're not important enough. You don't have enough power to even take something personally, you know. Because just when you think about it, I tell my students this all the time. They're like, oh, Miss, I don't think you like us, or I don't think Miss So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so likes us. Please let me just explain this to you right now. As teachers, we don't care enough not to like you. Like, do you know how much energy I would have to expel to not like you? That's a lot of energy. And I have a whole life outside of being a teacher. I have plenty of other things to do, to look forward to worry about. I promise you, I am not worried about liking you or not liking you. You're 12. Like, nobody is out here like, oh yeah, you know, because the so-and-so over here, I just really don't like them. Now, maybe I may have made a judgment about you. I may have decided, you know what? You and I have different views on things. I don't agree with the way you view things. I think you have a bad attitude. I may have made a judgment about that. But for me to just be like, I don't like you, it takes a lot of energy to not like a person. Like, you every time you see them, you have to remind yourself that you don't like them so you can get mad again. I don't have time for that. None of us have time for that. Take all adults here, most of us. But we're all adults here, and we just don't care enough, you know? And it's like, so for you to take something personally, for you to think, oh, this person really did this just so this could happen to me. Either that person really cares about you that much, which, you know, maybe they do, or you giving yourself too much credit. And it's usually the latter. You're usually giving yourself too much credit. I haven't read the book in a while, but there's like an example in there about a mom who was frustrated about something, or she had a hard day at work or something like that. And her daughter came up to her singing, and she made a rude comment about her daughter's singing voice. And so her daughter took it personally, and from now on, you know, she's not as confident as she used to be when it comes to her singing voice. When really the mom was just having a bad day and she was in a bad mood, and all she wanted was peace and quiet, so she didn't want to hear, you know, her daughter singing it at the present time. Which basically means that it was about her. Everything was about her. It was all about her not being in the mood, her not wanting to hear sounds. It had nothing to do with whether or not baby girl could sing or any of that, you know. It was, we're human. We snap on people. That's something that we do. But now I find myself where if I talk to somebody and they snap on me and I go, ooh, okay, well, let me know. You know what? I'm going to let them do their thing and I'm going to continue having a good day. Or even like dating. Like, I find myself in a situation all the time where like somebody who I would probably never give a chance. And when I say never give a chance, I'm not saying that to mean that I am like too good for you. I'm just saying that to mean like you're married. You have how many kids? You still under the age of 25. Like, what makes you think that I would be interested? Like, what about me makes you think I would be interested? What makes you think I would be interested in being your side piece? Or being baby mama number 4? What makes you think I would be interested in that? And the fact of the matter is, Ciarra, it's not about you. He's not thinking about you. He's not thinking, oh, Ciarra looked like she might fall for this. No. He's thinking, well, I tried this before. It worked. Let me try it again. What about Ciarra? Let me try it on her. Nope, didn't work. All right, let me try it. Like, no one is out here thinking like, oh, yeah, I see Ciarra. She looked like she'd be down to be my side piece. Like, what? No, just giving yourself too much credit, way too much credit. And so, don't take things personally is absolutely my favorite one. It's most people's favorite one. And it has helped me in so many different ways. Like, you at work and you feel like your boss is out to get you. Two ways to look at that. It's possible they don't like you. It's possible. It's also possible that they're just trying to do their job and you're misreading the situation. It's also possible that it's time for you to leave that job and you ain't listening to God when he told you to leave. So he's trying to, find a different way that you can better relate to get you out of there. But coming from your boss's perspective, your boss has a job to do. They got time slots to fill, shifts, whatever you want to call them. Like, they are thinking, I'm trying to get this done, I have this end goal. How you going to help me get there? You're not helping me get there. You in my way. It's just, and I'm not going to say I haven't met evil people. I have met evil people who I feel like were just genuinely doing evil things. But even when they're doing evil things, they're not doing them because of you. They're doing them because of themselves. Like, I always tell people this. A lot of people meet me and they go, oh my God, you know what? When I first saw you, I really thought you were stuck up. And I'm like, I'm so regular. I'm so regular. Like, I'm sitting here right now in a t-shirt. I love this t-shirt, by the way. And some pants that don't match. Like, I don't care. I'm super regular. Like, there's nothing about me that's stuck up. Now, I am a little bougie when it comes to certain things. Like, when it comes to my food, things I put in my body, skincare, hair care, stuff like that. But nobody's stuck up, And, of course, like I was just saying, there was always a time where I was like, what am I doing to people to make them think that I'm stuck up? No, it doesn't have anything to do with me making them think I'm stuck up. Something about my presence, something about my aura has spoken to their insecurity. And so they say, she must be stuck up. Or, oh, she's this, she's that. It doesn't have anything to do with me. I could be in rags, and if I speak to somebody's, or not me, but if my presence speaks to somebody's insecurity, they can still think, oh, she's stuck up. Or, oh, she's this, she's that, she's the other. When people make statements about you and they come to you, and not, because it's like, look at it like this. Think about all the things that you think about people. Do you ever say them? If you do say them, what's your goal? Like, let's say you think somebody's ugly. Like, oh yeah, I'm just say Adam. I don't know why she with Adam. He ugly. Like, I don't see what she sees in him, whatever, right? Are you about to go tell Adam that he ugly? And if you were going to go tell Adam that he's ugly, what would your motive be? What would your goal be? It's not to make Adam feel no type of way, because if Adam is secure in himself, and if he is unattractive, and he's pulling people that are attractive, he probably is pretty secure about himself. So you going to tell Adam that he ugly, number one, if he actually is, I disagree with the, concept of ugly. I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But maybe he do think he ugly. And maybe he just felt like, whatever, I got this to offer, that to offer, whatever, like, I'm going about my business, I'm living my life, Or he might think, you a hater. He might have several different reactions, but the reaction is hardly going to be, oh man, so-and-so, my girlfriend's friend said I was ugly, so I must be ugly. Like, no. So when you go and you tell people things about them, you tell them the judgments that you've made up, what you're really trying to do is make yourself feel better. And it's twisted, but Human nature, unfortunately, sometimes putting other people down makes us feel better. And at the end of the day, the only remedy to that is when you know better, you do better. When you know how to navigate something or whatever feelings you're feeling, your insecurities, self-esteem, whatever, you do better. So maybe there was a time when that girl in your class that really bothered you used to pick fights with her because you thought she was prettier than you. Or you thought the guy she was dating was supposed to be your guy. Or, vice versa. I don't mean to make it just about women. I'm just doing that because I'm a woman. But, it could be it's the same thing with guys. But then maybe you got a little older and you put your childish ways aside. Or you put your petty ways, whatever you want to call it, aside, And that is all the more reason to just keep reminding yourself, when you know better, you do better. When I have an opportunity to be a better person than the person I was yesterday, I'm gonna take it every time. I struggle with all kinds of things, on a regular basis. But I just have to continue to remind myself, Ciarra, do what you want to do. Do what makes you happy. Do what's going to protect your peace, your energy, and stop worrying about what other people think. Sure, you're thinking, easier said than done. Yeah, I know, I'm doing it. But the point is that it can be done, and there are several times where I've just thought to myself, okay, I have this issue with this person. It really is bothering me. I'm going to say it. And I spent all this time, like, trying to figure out how to say it in a way that, she or he won't take offense to. Wasting my time. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my energy. You know why? You can't control the way somebody takes something. You say what you feel like you have to say. It don't matter how you say it. It doesn't matter, It doesn't matter how you say it. If they want to take offense to it, they're going to. If they want to take it personally and make it about themselves, they're going to. Because really, when you have an issue with somebody and you're saying, hey, I want to talk to you about this, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. You're doing it so you ain't going to be mad no more. You're doing it so they don't treat you that way anymore. And it's like, at the end of the day, everything we do is about us. Every single thing we do is about us. We're trying to better ourselves. That's for us. And of course, you hear people saying, I want to do this for my mom. I want to do this for my kids. Sure. But it's about you, And so learning not to take things personally, even somebody come up to me and say, you stupid. Okay. Maybe you're angry. Or maybe I have, the way that I carry myself or my intelligence has spoken to your insecurity and it's made you feel stupid. So you're projecting it onto me. And I just think that was like super enlightening for me, because I used to hang on to everything people said. Like, I'm sure it's plenty of people that I went to school with, worked with, all that kind of stuff, my family members. And I remember exactly what they said to me. I remember what they had on, and that hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings, and they don't remember. I bet you they don't remember, because it doesn't affect them, because we are about ourselves. And that's okay. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being for yourself, wanting to better yourself, wanting to work on yourself. You are your very own masterpiece. Why not, put all your energy into yourself? And by taking care of yourself, you naturally take care of others, especially if you're someone that likes to give advice or someone that likes to be there for people. Your cup has to be full. It's got to be full. And so whatever it is that you are struggling with, emotionally, think about it two ways. One, how much energy do I want to expel on this? And energy can be interchangeable. A lot of people like to drop the F-bomb. Like, how many F-bombs do I have to give today? Or I don't give any F-bombs, or whatever, and it's just like, it's the same concept. Like, I can't give that to you today. I don't have it to give. Wake up in the morning and decide, you know what? I got 2 to give today. And you go throughout your day and go, nope, not giving it to that one. Nope, you can't have it. You know what? I think I could give it to you today. And, whatever you got to do, like, however you have to manipulate yourself into understanding this concept, it's worth it. Protect yourself. Protect your energy. Protect your peace. The second way you got to look at it is, it's not about you. Something that somebody else does, it's not about you. The way somebody else feels, it's not about you. So when someone says, oh, you made me feel this way, or you did this, or you did that, they're placing blame. And we all do it, you know. But there is a certain type of person who does it in an unhealthy way. And that, I think, frustrates me the most. And that is one of my biggest hurdles, you know, just full disclosure. I have a couple of friends, a couple of family members as well, who don't ever want to take accountability for their actions. Everything is happening to them. Woe is me. Look at this. My life's so hard. They're playing the victim. It drives me nuts. And so that's one hurdle that I'm still working on. I'm still working on surpassing people. Well, not even surpassing. That's the wrong word to use. It's not what I meant to say. Still working on getting over or getting through people who like to play the victim. And I think it's more of a pet peeve than anything. But it's a big pet peeve for me. Like, it makes me angry on sight. It makes me angry like injustice makes me angry. It makes me angry on sight. So that's something that I'm still working on, you know. What are you still working on? What is your current task? How are you still figuring out how to protect your energy, you know? And so I just have to keep reminding myself. And it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, it's hard to grasp, but then once you get it, you got it. Except when you forget, you got to remind yourself. So it's constant work. You're constantly working. Like, it's like exercise. You know, if you get up every morning to run 4 miles, great, you got it. But if you stop for a month, you may not be able to hop right back on. So it's like, you have to constantly keep that affirmation, keep reminding yourself. Some people like Post-its. I'm more so of a mental person. You know, I like to do it mentally or visually. Certain images remind me of certain things, you know, certain depictions of hope or energy or peace or whatever, you know. But at the end of the day, everyone is still going to have something that they're dealing with. You're still going to have a weakness. Some people's weakness is their family members. Like, you say anything about my mama, I'm fighting you. I used to be that way. I used to think the same thing because that's what I was taught. Like, you don't get to talk about my mama. But at the end of the day, I am at a point where I don't, this is probably the stubbornness in me. I don't want to let nobody win. And if your goal is to get a rise out of me, oh, you ain't about to get it. Say what you want. I'll leave, separate myself from you, whatever. But you're not about to get it. My mama don't know you said that. Them words ain't finna hurt her unless I tell her. So I just, you know, everybody has different things they're struggling with. You know, mine is the victim. The victim drives me crazy. And everybody's going to have something that drives them crazy. But in a nutshell, you got to remember, how much energy do I want to spend on this today? Is it worth it? If it's worth it, let me go say something. Let me approach the situation head on. If it's not worth it, let it go. Like, really let it go. I'm not saying you got to forget about it, but you got to let it go for your own sake. Not for them, for you. Forgiveness is about you. Everything is about you. You know, and the other side of it, don't take it personally. Because that's not about you. That's the one thing that's not about you. What other people do and say is not about you. But all this other stuff, it goes back to you. You're pouring into yourself. You are your biggest and your best investment. So, 35 minutes. Talked a little longer than I wanted to. But I appreciate you. If you've made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you for listening and rocking with me. Comment, share, like. You know, if you have an opposing view, I would love to hear it. I love debating. It's like my favorite thing to do. So, but I mean like a healthy debate. Like, I'm not going to argue with you, but just like a healthy conversation about opposing views is what I mean. Because remember, energy. So yeah, thanks guys. I really appreciate it. If you haven't been to the website lately, please check out the website. I try to update it at least once every 2 months. You know, keep the content fresh. There's new stuff on the Take a Peek tab in the gallery. I've uploaded some of my newest travel photos. I'm still working on letting everybody know how everything went when I was in Thailand and a couple of other things that I have up my sleeve. So stay tuned. Keep it going. I will try to keep everybody posted as often as I can. And I really appreciate the support. I truly do. Thank you so much. Bye.